Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. So this pick a card reading is about what you need to know right now. Whatever is coming up, whatever is on your mind, maybe you have a question, maybe you're thinking about something, you need inspiration, motivation, or confirmation. Maybe this message might be that for you. Group number 1, octopus energy. Number 2, phoenix energy. Number 3, snake. The timestamps are always in the description box below. Let's jump into this video. Pause the video if you need to in case you're having a hard time seeing which one you resonate with. I look forward to seeing you in your message. Hello, group number 1. So group number 1, you guys selected the octopus energy. A few things is coming to mind when I'm thinking about the octopus energy. One thing that's coming to mind of the few things is being spread too thin. It's like being spread too thin. So with one situation, when I look at the octopus looks drained. The octopus looks exhausted. So maybe some of you might need to up your vitamins. And of course, this is a video on YouTube. So please don't, I'm not giving medical advice or any of that. This is for entertainment purposes only, But anyways, the octopus's face looks exhausted, and I feel like energy, B complex is what's coming to mind. Like B stress complex, something about the B vitamins might be something that's beneficial or something that could be helpful when it comes to this group. I just get the feeling of like somebody spreading themselves too thin. I get the feeling of like, how I felt when my adrenals were fatigued, where it's like even having a good night's sleep, I still feel exhausted. When it comes to this group, it feels exhausting. Your energy feels like you're exhausted. Also too, when it comes to this group, I get the feeling of like, having tabs running in the background. So it's like, say if you have tabs running in the background, I don't know for sure, but imagine if you had tabs running in the background of your phone, it makes the battery drain faster. So when I think of this group and having tabs running in the back of your mind, it's like there's so many things that you need to do to the point where it feels like you're overwhelmed. It's like you're barely catching up. Like what's coming to mind is back in the day, before, one of my clients at the salon put me onto keeping a journal, which was like, back then I bought this leather looking zip up book from Staples, and in there I balanced everything. But what it helped me with mainly was to write down all my bills and responsibilities for the month. And she taught me to use a highlighter, and she was a teacher actually, shout out to Debbie. She taught me to highlight off all of my responsibilities. Whenever I achieved them, highlight it off, and the highlight felt like a sticker. And I found myself like applying that to everything. It's like writing everything down that needs to get done so I could get it out of my head, because it's like to have things that need to be done in your head, trying to rely on your mind to remind you, it's like having a bunch of tabs open. And that could be so exhausting and draining at times. So for some of you, you might need to have better process of managing your tasks. That's one thing that's coming to mind. Another thing that's coming to mind is some of you might find yourself too busy with what's going on within your family. So say someone in your family is ill right now and you feel like the responsibility to take care of that person is all on you. And it's like you're exhausted. And it's like, did you ever check to see if others could help? Because I feel like there's no way that did you ever check to see if others can help is what I'm getting. And don't feel like, oh, but they got other stuff going on, blah, blah, blah. It's like, why do you feel like you're the one that needs to struggle with all of that? I just getting taking on more than one can chew. And also too, I get the feeling of someone, and this could be stuck in the middle of like a uncomfortable situation. I think of like the child stuck in between their parents' drama, and they're trying to like be the one to get everybody to get together or speak or whatever. And it's like, man, forget that. Like, if they don't want to be bothered with each other, like, mind your business is what I'm getting. But like, mind the business that's paying you. And it doesn't have to be literally the business that's paying you, but it's like, focus your energy on where you are, you know, focus your energy on where, on ways to nurture yourself. Focus your energy on things that help you to thrive. Focus your energy on things that support you. Go where you're celebrated, whether it's mentally focusing your energy and going where you're celebrated, or physically doing so. But I just get that you're doing too much. And from doing too much, it's like you need to probably step it up on the vitamins is what I'm getting with this group. And interesting enough, we have the 10th house come up, North Node and Aries. So you guys are hella ambitious, or you're in an ambitious phase in your life. And it makes sense. You guys chose group number one. Group number one is an ambitious energy. And we have Aries. So you have big plans for yourself. Destiny is very important for you. You see yourself going places, and you're trying to make a lot happen. You have big goals, you have ambition. And with Aries energy, maybe you're trying to do too much or a lot at once. And I'm getting pace yourself. Because with the octopus energy here and the astro dice on the table, you could find that like you're putting a lot of energy into places where it's not necessary. So what's coming to mind when I'm looking at this group is this book. And I talk about this book all the time because it's impacted my life. And it's called Eat That Frog by Brian Katie or Brian Tracy. I always get the name wrong, but I remember the message from the book. But it's like he taught the importance of like writing down everything that you have to do for the day, or everything that has to get done within the day, the month, the year, whatever. And then from everything on the list is like consolidating the list, minimizing the list of all the things. Is like, which one is the most important? Which one can have the most impact on my life if I execute it first and right away? And I feel like you guys need to work on managing your energy, managing what it is that you're doing. It's like a to-do list is what I'm getting, because I get with this group, you guys are trying to wing too much. You guys are leaving everything to your mind to remind you. You know, bust your phone out and set alarms in your phone. Set an alarm to remind you a day before. Set another alarm and that's what I do when it comes to certain things. I set an alarm to remind me the day before. Depending on the thing, maybe if it's an event, maybe it reminds me a few days before. And once it reminds me a few days before, my mind falls in the element of preparing for this thing. So then I might need another alarm hours before, you know, but you need to figure out what is best for you. But that's what I'm getting. The word like mental compartmentalize is that it's like filing cabinet is what I'm seeing in my mind. So it's like filing things, organizing things, so you don't depend on your mind to remind you to do everything. Because I think of like the person who they have the money in the bank, but their cell phone gets turned off every month, and that's how they remember to pay it. And it's not even that you can't afford to pay your cell phone, but you're reminded to pay your cell phone bill every time it gets shut off. And that's because you're depending on your mind to remind you, when you can create a system for yourself is what I'm getting for this group. And when it comes to the tarot, we have the Ace of Wands showing up in the reversal position. Okay, I get it now for you guys, but I love how it plays out. I get it, and I love how it plays out. So the Ace of Wands in the reversal position, some of you guys are struggling with a deadline. Whether it's your mortgage is late, your rent is late, something is late, something is late, or you're worrying about how you're going to pay something or make something happen. There's like, it's like, say you were expecting to get a raise in your pay, or you're expecting to get some more money, or you're expecting to borrow some money. You're expecting something with finances and it didn't come through. It was withheld. And the challenge is, it's like you're having a hard time seeing your way through something. And I find that for myself, like in the past, whenever, you know, certain things wouldn't go my way, it's like the thought of what will happen if it didn't work out was way more scarier than the reality. It's like once I accepted that, okay, this is what the situation is, what can I do about it? Do what I can and do nothing if that's all I could do. It's like things figured a way how to work themselves out, because unexpectedly someone's coming to your rescue, whether this is a father, a brother, a cousin, a friend, a coworker. Someone's coming to your rescue. Someone is coming to assist you with someone's coming to assist you. Someone's coming to your aid. When I look at this energy here, this Ace of Wands would remind me of, like, say me having to move and me worrying if I'm going to meet the deadline. Like, say, you know, I gotta move, and when I gotta move, it's near a holiday or whatever, and it's during the week or whatever, and it's like, well, I have the help, and it's like, these are my brothers, the Kings of Cups, you know, coming to my rescue, and it's like Judgment Day. I just feel like for you guys, whatever it is that you're worrying about, whatever deadline it is that you're trying to make, like the help and the support will come unexpectedly, because that's what this group represents. This is the overall situation. This is the challenge. This is what's unexpected, and this is the outcome. So it's like you had faith about something and it worked out in your favor. And for me, like 2023, like I remember saying in the Patreon meetup group, and I was saying to my brother also, it's like 2023 for me reminds me of the meme or the short video of the little boy who's in the water and someone's holding him and he's freaking out. And some way, somehow they got him to put his foot on the ground, and he stands up and the water is no higher than his knees. And he realized that he was tripping for no reason. That was a big part of my 2023. And I said, you know what? No more. It's like a disrespect to the universe for me to make big deal out of things and get into like this like stressful energy when everything is prepared for us, regardless of what it may seem. And it's my lack of belief at times is what make things harder for me than they have to be. But things are working for you. A prayer is being answered. The opportunity is being presented. So if you was waiting for the job, you're gonna get the job. They're gonna call you back. If you were waiting to borrow some money, pay the bill, you're gonna get what it is that you need. And when it comes to the spirit animal moving you forward, the bat shows up. And I think about how the bat cannot see. The bat has to go by hearing. The bat has to go by vibration. So with the bat going by hearing and vibration, meaning itself in relation to everything else, I look at the bat and how the bat is getting away from the distractions. So when it comes to this group, if anything, is bringing me to the importance of getting still, spending time in silence, and also too, when whatever it is that you're waiting for plays out for you, you need to make a big damn deal about it. When I say a big damn deal about it, like you don't need to do anything. But what I would do if I was you, I would use moments like that to remind myself how the universe, the creator, is always there for me. How I stress for no reason. How I fuss for no reason. How things always work out in my favor. How the creator has a lot of children, but you're the favorite. Like I would use this moment once it plays out, because it's playing out for you. Whatever it is that you're waiting for, with your career, with your goals, or with your finances, and possibly paying a bill or something, or taking care of some kind of responsibility or meeting some deadline, judgment is going to work out for you. You trusted, you believe, and it worked out. And let this be like a marker to remind you that no matter how things seem, just have faith, just trust. Things will always work out for you. The creator has a lot of children, but you're the favorite. Group number 1, it was such a pleasure sharing this message with you. If you'd like to book a tarot reading with me or a natal chart awareness coaching session, or check out my exclusive weekly pick a card readings along with other content only available on Patreon, the links to book with me or check out my Patreon community are in the description box below. But before you go anywhere, please let me know you're here with me by dropping me a red heart in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Hello, group number 2. So group number 2, you guys selected the Phoenix energy. And the thought that came to mind when I lay the Phoenix card down, I think of like an airplane getting ready to take off. And like, I think of like an airplane getting ready to take off. Like, imagine one of those action-packed movies where these people are trying to get away. They're trying to get away to save their life. Maybe there's something going on, disaster, whatever, but they're trying to get away, and they get on the plane just in time, and the plane seems like it's not gonna take off, but the plane eventually takes off. And what I get from that with the Phoenix energy is that some of you may have been going through something and you felt like you weren't gonna make it, and you're making it. And I'm laughing because there's this gospel song playing in my head right now, and it, like, I'm not even gonna attempt to sing it, but it's like, never could have made it, like never could have made it without you. It's like, that's the feeling that I'm getting, like very emotional. Like, I feel emotional when it comes to this group to a certain extent, but it's like good emotions. It's like, damn, how, like I made it, like I did it. Like I did it by myself, or I made it happen, or I did it, I made it happen. Like they slept on me. They didn't believe that I could do it, but I did it. I did it. Like I just feel emotional, but not overly emotional. But then there's also a feeling of like, you know, when you watch like a superhero movie and it's like somebody just did something like, wow, it's like, that's the feeling. But it's like you did something that you didn't know you could have done. You made something happen. Like the thought that comes to mind is like, maybe someone moved out on their own for the first time, and you just made a whole year of being able to pay all your bills on time and not ask for any help. Like you did it, you made it. And it's like, in the process of coming full circle with that, and you know, in the process of coming full circle with that, it's like you feel a little bit emotional because maybe you felt like others slept on you, or they didn't believe in you, or they didn't think it was possible, or maybe it actually came out of somebody's mouth that you weren't gonna make certain things happen, and you made it happen. And it's like, damn, I did that. I did that. So when it comes to this group, like what you need to know right now is that you're gonna be all right. You've always been all right, but you're gonna be all right. You've always been all right, but you're gonna be all right. And when it comes to, say, those of you who are celebrating some win, regardless of how big it is, you need to celebrate. That's number one. And moments like this, I feel it's important for us to, the word simmer is coming to mind, but it's not simmer. I wanna say like marinate in the emotions of how it feels to have a breakthrough. Because if you haven't had a breakthrough already, you're about to have some kind of a breakthrough. And it's like, when the breakthrough happens, you got to marinate in the emotions of how it felt to have that breakthrough, so that you can recall that emotion more often, to dwell in it, to attract more of it. So your life is filled with breakthroughs after breakthroughs after breakthroughs. And we have the number 5 energy here, Neptune and Scorpio. This is interesting. So I'm gonna say something wild, but this isn't for everybody, clearly. For some of you, maybe you had a moment where you went out and you consumed some substances, and you had a wild time, you had a good time, and you felt like you had a close call. When it comes to like, an encounter. For some, maybe you thought you were pregnant and you found out that you're not. Or maybe for someone else, you thought it's possible that, you could have gotten, like, I don't even want to say it, but it's like something happened. You had a great time. You got lost in the moment. You escaped in the moment. And, like everything is all good. Everything is all good. You're good. Everything is all good. I've never had that come up in a reading before, but clearly like hundreds of people are watching this, so someone will be able to relate. But just make sure you learn from the experience, so you don't have to have so many close calls like this. I just get the feeling if someone had a close call, like they had too much to drink or had too much of a good time, got really lost in the moment, and you're good. You're good. You're free. I get for some of you, when it comes to this group, is some of you may have felt like you had some kind of a soul tie to someone, like some kind of a soul tie where it felt like some romantic encounter, someone who you used to deal with. It's almost like you felt like you never could have gotten over them, or you never could free yourself from the connection. And it's like, finally, you're seeing your way out. Like, I'm imagining the person that keeps going back to the relationship that clearly doesn't work. And it's like, if you could have not go back, you would, but it almost feel like an addiction. It feels like an addiction to a connection. Yeah, something feels like an addiction to a romantic connection, and someone is finally freeing themselves from this connection. So it's like, I get the feeling of like, say you've known someone for 5 to 8 to 9, 10 years. Those are the numbers that are coming to mind. And it's like, every time you guys would get together, it will be short-lived. There will always be something to cause you guys to fall out. But when you guys were together or were in each other's presence, it's like the energy is so amplified. And the energy is so amplified to the point that it's like if you take a step back and look at the bigger picture, that, you know, the relationship never lasts more than a week, a few weeks or days or months, meaning like, you know, fall out, get together, it lasts for that period of time, and then fall out again. And it's like, if you look at the bigger picture, it's like, clearly there's some obstacles in the way that makes it almost impossible to have something sustainable, like meaningful. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, just the thought of the connection and the possibilities pulls you back in to try again. And with the Phoenix energy, like, I'm getting finally breaking free. Like, for this group, I feel like I need to share this. So I remember creating a video on how to get over a person. Like, how to get over a person. And for me personally, the way how I get over a person, regardless of who that person is, whether it's romantic, platonic, whatever, if for one, I see that a person is destructive to me in my life, meaning they don't have to be destructive themselves, but us together is just a bad chemical reaction, I focus on the reasons why we're not together in the first place, in the sense that if we're honest with ourselves and we focus on why the relationship isn't working, say, for example, the person never prioritizes you, or they don't spend any time with you, or I feel like that, I don't know, like, I guess I'm saying never spend any time, but a part of me feel like it's silly or immature to say that. I don't know why I feel like that, because people might be genuinely busy with their careers, with their education, things like that. But there are situations when some people never have time, and they only have time when they have time, which is odd times where it's like, I think of a situation where a person might be in a relationship and the person only comes over late at night, and when they do, you guys might smoke and drink or whatever. And it's like only a few things can happen at that time, but they're never available during meaningful times where you guys can bond. And this has been going on for so long. And it's like, for me, the way how I would get myself up out of that is to remind myself that even the president has time for what's important. And I would imagine that the president should be a very busy person running the world. And if the president could find time for what's important, then clearly this person doesn't see me as important enough to find time, depending on the situation. Maybe this person does work 3-4 jobs and go to school. So I'm not speaking about every situation, but who I'm speaking to know what I'm talking about. Where it's like, I would remind myself that even the president makes time. And just because this person doesn't prioritize me to want to build with me that way doesn't mean that I'm not enough, but I'm just not for this person and I deserve more. So it's like, I remind myself of why it hurts, because whenever we step away from certain relationships, we start to daydream about all the good things, and then we find ourselves back in it. And then we're like, how did I get here again? Where for me, I focus on why it didn't work. Like, say if the person was emotionally abusive, I will focus on the emotional abuse every time I think of them. Every time I think of them, I will think about how the situation made me feel, because that will help me to remember to stay away in case I start getting dreamy and imaginative and allowing my Neptune, Pisces, 12th house energy, which is in all of our chart, before I start allowing that to make me start thinking about the potential and the possibilities of this relationship, I start instead focusing on why it hurts. I don't mean I'm dwelling there and feeling sorry for myself, but every time I think about the possibility of us, I reflect on why it hurted. unless the person comes back and they are willing to have a conversation and everybody is willing to, you know, own their part in it and have, you know, have goals on what they expect to where people can hold each other accountable. I find sometimes we jump back into situations where the person that we're jumping back into that situation with didn't even acknowledge their role in the situation. So if they didn't acknowledge their role in the situation and felt like you tripping, it's like, how do you get them to, like, how will they change if they ain't feel like they did anything wrong to begin with? I think it's interesting for some of you guys, maybe there was a close call in pregnancy, maybe there was a miscarriage, maybe there was some kind of release in the situation. But I feel like there may have been, something in pregnancy, because I remember saying that, saying something about having a good time, something happened, and there's a close call in it for some unexpectedly. Like if someone here is wondering if that's the case, the Empress energy in the reversal position is telling me no, along with this 3 of Wands in the reversal position is also telling me no. But overall, we have the 9 of Wands in the reversal position, and I think that's so fitting, you guys. I can't even make this up. In the upright position, this person is up all night, or they can't sleep because they have a lot on their mind. There's something that they're thinking about that makes it so hard to sleep. But in the reversal position, this person could finally sleep again because they're at peace now with what's on their mind. And I feel like that's like the phoenix finally being able to rise, finally being able to let go of whatever they were dealing with. And the challenge energy here for some of you, maybe you're in a relationship with someone who is either a earth sign or acts like an earth sign. And when I say earth sign or act like an earth sign, someone who is very practical, someone who probably seems emotionless or isn't as open with their emotions or shows their emotion in a different way. Someone who also seems immature when it comes to the way how they handle things. I get the feeling of someone shutting down when it comes to dealing with emotional based things because they process things differently and they do things differently. And I feel like the way how they process and handle things might be totally different from how you process and handle things. I also feel like something about this person feels like, what was I going to say? Something about this person. Ooh, the love languages between you guys. You guys have different love languages where this person's love language probably is gifts. You know, they probably like giving a gift here and there or doing nice things, where with this group, you guys need words of affirmation and quality time. Yeah, words of affirmation and quality time. This doesn't have to resonate with everyone, but I'm going with what I'm feeling here. And I feel like, you know, sometimes when people speak different love languages, they can't understand each other and they feel like, you know, people don't feel love. So I think it's very important for people to understand each other's love languages. And I feel like in certain cases, like our love languages, you know, it's just how we show up and show people we love. And sometimes if the way how you show people, like say, imagine if you're with someone who feels love the way how you show love naturally. So say you're someone who shows love to the people you care about, say from cooking and doing nice deeds like that. And you like to feel loved by a person affirming you and telling you thank you and telling you how much they appreciate you. And your partner, their love language is acts of service. They love when people tend to them and do things for them. So you cooking for them makes them feel loved. And they like to show love to the people in their life by affirming them, letting them know that I'm here with you. I love you. I appreciate you. You look beautiful, whatever. Two people like that being together, just in the process of them being themselves, they make each other feel loved. I feel like when people link up where their love languages don't match, I feel like it could turn into a situation where people don't feel seen. And I feel like that might be the case here in this situation. But something about this connection, this situation feels very, what they would call, what would they call this? Feels very like there's a bond. Like I said, there's this tight bond, there's this tight connection, not bond or connection, but like a soul tie type of situation where it's hard to shake this person. It's hard to shake this connection. So even if you guys aren't speaking to each other, haven't spoken in a while, I feel like someone though, when it came to this situation, end up not carrying, conceived and end up not carrying is what I'm getting with this here. And maybe that was the last thing that caused you guys to like stop speaking. But that doesn't have to be everyone, because, you know, there's hundreds of people watching this. So, you know, that doesn't have to be the case for everyone. But maybe for some of you, you guys had a dream. You had a dream, you had goals, and that fell apart. The relationship ended with the Empress. It's like, you know, it's like people planning to move in together, planning to do things together, and it just never happened, and things fall apart. And with the wolf energy coming out as a spirit animal moving forward, the wolf is a tribal and a pack type of animal. And with this coming out, I'm getting for you, like, it might be beneficial or helpful for you to look for like-minded people that you can, it's like community. Community will be very beneficial for you. I get the feeling that being alone with what it is that you're going through is not the best thing right now. I feel like with this group alone time, like for me, if I was to hear this, I'd be like BS, because I love my alone time and that's what I need. But, you know, I don't think this is my group. I won't know until I'm done with all the readings and I shuffle up the 3 cards and see which one pops out for me. But for this group, I feel like, you know, being out and socializing is beneficial for you, because you guys are finally breaking free from something you thought you couldn't break free from. And I feel like isolating yourself and being alone might cause you to fall back into it, where socializing and connecting with others will really benefit you and keep you moving forward. Wow, group number 2. This was a very powerful and channel message, because I've never done a reading like this before, where it was just so focused on certain things. Like I said, maybe miscarriage or someone intentionally stopping something. You know, that was just so strong. So someone I know could resonate with this. And even as I'm speaking, it's like for whatever reason, like heavy bleeding is something that I keep picking up. So even in the process of reading this, someone might be going through the process of heavy bleeding. So it's like, this was so like specific, even though this is a general message. But it was such a pleasure sharing it with you. I hope it was helpful in some way. If you'd like to book a tarot reading with me, a natal chart awareness coaching session, or check out my exclusive weekly pick a card readings, only available on Patreon, the links to book with me or check out my Patreon community are in the description box below. Before you go anywhere, please let me know you're here with me by dropping me an orange heart in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Hello, group number 3. So group number 3, immediately when I saw the snake energy, the first thing that came to mind was, if you're trying to conceive, you have and you will. And I feel like it's interesting that this is coming up after the last message, because something like that came up in the last message, but these 2 messengers are nothing alike. So you don't need to listen to the last message unless you feel like it. But with this group, I get the feeling of like someone planting a seed in the soil. And while the seed is within the soil, you don't know what's happening. You don't know if there's roots laying down. You don't know if there's going to be a stem coming out. You don't know if the seed is a dud. Like, imagine you could only plant 1 seed at a time, and it takes a long time for that seed to catch. I think of like a person, a bamboo plant. And I heard the story about a bamboo plant, and I'm going to probably have the numbers and stuff wrong, but you guys will get the gist of it. Whereas like with a bamboo plant, I hear that like for like 7 years, for a while, you're watering this plant and nothing is happening. And then after a certain period of time, is like the plant will grow like so many, like 10, 12, 15, 20 feet, like grow really high in a short period of time. So for a long time, you spend pouring into this thing, not knowing if nothing is going to come out of it, not knowing if it's going to work. So I think of the person who could only plant 1 seed at a time, and they plant the 1 seed and there's nothing they could do but wait. And it's like, it might take a whole month for you to know if this seed caught and if you're gonna get a plant. And it's like, you're waiting a whole month not knowing if you're gonna have to keep redoing that same process over and over and over again, but I'm getting the seed caught. So say, for example, some of you might have send out resumes and you want to get in with a specific company. And it's like, or you want to get in with a specific company, you haven't sent out the resume yet. Like, they'll accept you. Or you want to get accepted with a certain college or university, they'll accept you. Or you've been working on conceiving. It's like it'll catch. That's the word that's coming to mind. It's like what needs to happen will happen for the process to start. I also think of someone who's been nurturing something, and it's like you're past the harder stages of the thing. Where it's like, I think of the bamboo tree, where it's like the person keeps watering the thing for years. So it's like, imagine for years your neighbors watch you watering this spot on the ground. And they're like, you're effing losing your mind. For years you've been watering a random spot on the ground. And then all of a sudden, within the space of a month, something pierces through the soil in the spot of the ground, and now there's like 100 feet plant that just appeared out of nowhere. Where for the people who didn't see you watering that spot on the ground for years looking crazy, would have thought that your ass was, like you got lucky. Something happened for you overnight. But the neighbors who probably judged you and thought your ass was a little off, and watch you get up every single day and water the plant, water the spot on the ground, and keep watering the spot on the ground. When they see your success, they're like, wow, like they have a newfound respect for you because they saw what you went through trying to make this thing happen. Where someone who had no clue about it would say you're lucky and dismiss you and just say you're lucky, when luck has nothing to do with it. Having faith and doing the work. And it's like the saying, faith without works is dead. You had faith because that's the only way you would have kept getting up every day and doing the work and watering this spot on the ground where you planted this bamboo tree, hoping that it will come through. So when it comes to this group, I feel it's almost like breakthrough, revolution. It's like finally your moment has come, or your moment is coming. Like, it just feels really good. The number 5 energy is here, Taurus and Neptune. So when it comes to this group, you guys had a dream. You were passionate about something. You had a dream about it. And when I say a dream, I don't necessarily mean like, go to sleep and have a dream. Like, you had a plan to make something happen. And finally, you're experiencing the stability in that thing. So I think of the person who, maybe you graduated from school for something, and after graduating for a while, like, you've been taking on jobs, trying to get experience, and finally you've broken through the point where it's like, you finally now have the experience to negotiate more money. Finally, you have the experience to negotiate more money. Because maybe the career you were in, it's like they wouldn't take you without experience, so you had to volunteer and do free work somewhere. And it's like, finally you can call the shots. Finally, that seed is showing that all what you were doing was for no reason. I think of the person who is an entrepreneur, who's been doing their own thing. And it's like, people around you see you doing your own thing, and a lot of them probably felt like you were wasting your time or wasting your money trying to make this thing happen. And you never gave up. You never gave up on your dream. And finally, there are signs of security, stability. Because when I look at the snake energy, I think of how the snake crawls on the ground and how the snake has access to ancient wisdom, knowledge. I think of the snake in the Bible story and how the snake was able to see things that Adam and Eve couldn't, and how the snake helped them to level the playing field by helping them to be aware of things they weren't aware of. And I know that could be interpreted and seen in so many different ways. But I look at the snake as something that has wisdom, knowledge, access. And I think of the person who saw themselves being able to do something, even though no one else could see it. And they never gave up on that. And I'm just feeling a breakthrough. I'm feeling a major breakthrough when it comes to this group. And wow, okay, so overall, 5 of Wands. So overall, you've been fighting to make something happen. And the challenge is, in the process of you fighting to make something happen in a very competitive field maybe, Like relationships, you put relationships on pause, or maybe you even lost relationships in the process. Because with you fighting to make something happen, you're not able to be available for certain events that you would make time for. Maybe people even stop inviting you because you weren't available. So, people no longer invited you. But the challenge was connections. And also too, with this in a reversal position, I'm getting for some, maybe this was, for some, when I look at these energies together, maybe it was something within your relationship where it's like, before maybe you had to fight for your relationship, and the challenge was, you're fighting for your relationship or whatnot. And finally there's some kind of security or stability within your relationship. But then also I look at this, and this tells a story of what I just said, where it's like you graduate from school, or maybe you're still in school, but you're at a certain level, and you need to get into a certain field or area, and it requires volunteer work because it's a very competitive thing. And it was hard for you to network and make the proper connections in order to get into that thing. And, you struggled for a while when it came to making that happen, but you didn't give up. And it's like unexpectedly, Ten of Swords energy here. It's like this has helped you to put behind you a certain mentality and a way of thinking. Because at the end of the day, you realize that all you needed was to have a plan. And I have this frame on my wall that says, don't call it a goal, call it a plan. You had a goal that you call a plan, and you realize how certain limiting self-beliefs or even certain things that people said, like it didn't apply to you. Right? Ooh, you guys, look at the outcome. Look at the outcome. So back to this. You guys, you have a plan or whatever, and maybe people said to you, people who do that job or people who open that kind of business, like there's no success, or there's a small percentage. People don't normally make money doing that. And you realize that that kind of mindset never served you, and you left it behind. And when it's all said and done, the outcome is the Magician. The outcome is you being able to create what appears to be magic to everyone, but it's not really magic. It's you learning how to synchronize, harmonize everything that you've learned, everything that you've been through. It's like as above, so below. So as above is your mind, your mentality, your view on the world, how you see yourself in the world. And so below is your everyday life, and it transforming to fit the mentality that you've developed, the mindset you've developed as you've been grinding and trying to make things happen for yourself. And making things happen for yourself in an area, in a field that others didn't think is possible. I think of someone moving away from home and starting from scratch in a place that others may have not thought it was possible, and they were able to make things happen for themselves. I think of someone starting their business and others thinking, not even understanding what it is that you do or how you do what you do. But it's like you've learned to separate yourself from others in the sense that, yes, community is important and you have a social life, but at the same time, you realize that, the way people think has everything to do with where they end up. And you're able to separate yourself from certain people who are in places that you don't want to end up in because their mindset got them there. So this is where you're ditching certain ways of thinking. Like this is the old you and this is the new you, as you've went full circle through this cycle of evolution, of transformation, as you've had this death and a rebirth, and now you're a stable person. And I look at how the frog energy comes out, guiding us forward. I love that the frog is even facing forward. And with this frog as a spirit animal guiding you, the frog energy reminds me of having a nice balance of practicality and spirituality. The frog reminds me of masculine and feminine energy together. The frog reminds me of the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. So the conscious mind is masculine. The subconscious mind is feminine. The conscious mind has an idea, and the subconscious mind manifests into our physical reality. What we call learning is really programming, and that happens through repetition. And imprints are made on our subconscious mind through repetition. Whatever thinking we think over and over and over again, that creates an imprint on our subconscious mind. It's like it sends out an order, sends an order to the kitchen. And then in our physical world, our food is ready, the order that was sent out to the kitchen. And the order is created through repetition. But you've learned the importance and the power of repetitive thoughts, the power of redirecting your thoughts and keeping a positive mindset. You've been able to turn into the magician because you realize as above, so below. What's happening in my mind is what I'm seeing in my world. And if I want to see something different in my world, I need to see something different in my mind. When it comes to this group, I love how powerful this is, because what I get from this group is the importance of never giving up and believing in oneself, the importance of trusting your intuition and going with it. And with the frog coming out as spiritual guidance, it brings me to balancing the masculine and the feminine energy within you. And for me, balancing the masculine and the feminine energy within looks like, say, I have an intuition and I also look for practical confirmation to confirm that intuition until I get to the point where I can trust my intuitions and go with them. The frog as guidance also brings me to the importance of knowing when to take action and knowing when to be still and go into receptive mode, which is feminine energy. Taking action is masculine energy, but knowing when to act and when to be still and attract to us everything that we want. Group number 3, your message was so powerful, so powerful. Congratulations on your evolution, on your glow up, on your level up. It was such a pleasure sharing this message with you. If you'd like to book a tarot reading with me, a natal chart awareness coaching session, or check out my exclusive weekly pick a card readings and other contents, only available on Patreon. The links for booking with me or checking out my Patreon are in the description box below. Before you go anywhere, please let me know you're here with me by dropping me a yellow heart in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.